should we talk about the Opster now?
Of course.
This was I found this very interesting. This was kind of an old school radio beef with that Opie doesn't engage in too often. He doesn't really ever talk to anyone from his past. He talks to Anthony through the internet, but like he'll never have him on the show or go on his show or anything like that. This was very interesting that he actually had an exchange with Erock. So Ron the Waiter got a lot of kudos this week. We mentioned it last week. The 30-minute rant that Anthony went on, just eviscerating Opie. You remember that, Craig?
Yes.
Where he's like, no one from the past likes you anymore. You're a worthless loser.
Yeah.
Ron the Waiter watched that, not once, but twice, he said. And he's not too well-versed in Opie and Anthony lore, so he goes on with Opie, and he's like, this Anthony guy seems to have a real problem with you. And he brings up a lot of the points, and Opie has a tough time. He's spinning it because he doesn't know if Ron's fucking with him. Or it was very interesting. So Opie's show is kind of like in turmoil because he's not sure if Ron, the waiter, is turning against him or what's happening. And then Erock pipes up in the chat. And this was also, I thought, very good. Shout out to Stalin19 for this clip because I believe Opie deleted the episode.
Oh, they did.
Can I point out this loser? This is Erock. He used to be a producer of the Opie and Anthony show, and he drank the Kool-Aid, and now he's in Anthony's camp, and he's now with the cool kids. Erock, you're with the cool kids now, are ya? This is incredibly sad. You're incredibly sad, Erock. Now that you're with the cool kids, how is it to be with all the cool kids, Erock? How is
Who's he referring to? So he's in Opie's mind. Carl is the cool kids? Like, who's he referring to? Kumia, I guess?
Kumia and Jim, probably.
Yeah, but Erock, I'm sure he still has a relationship with Jim of some kind, but like I haven't seen him make any content together.
I don't know if he's referring to Anthony's radio show and they were all on.
Oh, that's true. There is that. Yeah, man, maybe he means that. Like you're one of the cool kids. Well, Opie, look at yourself and wonder, why aren't you the cool kids? Because he always talks about how Anthony's not successful. He's like, he's on an AM radio show. No one listens to that garbage. It's like, well, why are you referring to Anthony as the cool kids then? Maybe there's something there.
More. Go away, you loser. Why are you up watching my shit? I don't watch anything of yours.
If it worked like that, Joe Rogan would be in poverty. What do you mean? That's not how any shows work. Joe Rogan has to watch all of our shows in order for Spotify to be like, oh, there's a lot of people watching. Joe, you've got a lot of shows in your history. I guess that means a lot of people are watching you.
Hey, a-hole, you started with, no, I didn't start with you. You're not even a thought in my life. Let me do what I should have done a long time ago.
Block.
Hold on. Oh my God, the chat's going nuts. Hold on, I got to pick him off. Goodbye.
This is what he should have done a long time ago. It's the first time I've heard Opie interact with Erock. This is the first time this has ever happened that I can think of, that Erock has chatted his show and Opie has responded. And he's like, I should have done this a long time ago. Well, that would have been psychotic. If Erock went on one day and was like, what the fuck, I'm blocked. That would have been a little crazy if you did it earlier than this, Opie.
Wait. Hello?
Hello.
Dude, stop watching my shit. Who gives a crap what I do? Who gives a crap, Erik?
He just calls him. That's fucking amazing.
And it's a great, by the way, hello. Erock's so satisfied with himself, which is nice. Which, by the way, like, Erock was a great punching bag for that show. And I think, like, I never pitied him. I was never like, oh, they're beating up on Erock. Because I think that's what Erock signed up for to a degree, you know? But there was an element of like, and you could tell, particularly in the later years with Opie, if they had nothing, if nothing was going on in the news, whatever, Opie would go, all right, let's fuck with Erock. Like, I remember there was one, and you can go find this clip on YouTube, I'm sure. There was one day where, like, Opie had Erock and Erock's wife and Sam's wife over to his house. And Opie was like, yeah, Erock touched my sister's leg. And Erock was like, the fuck are you talking about? Like, it was just made up out of and also, by the way, kind of scummy because like Erock's wife could hear this and be like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? But you could like, even as a listener, you could tell like Opie's just, and it was funny because Jim and Anthony and Sam made it funny. But like, it was like Erock was abused on that show. And again, I don't feel bad for him, but that's what it was to a degree. And so for Opie to now be like, hey, fuck you for criticizing me, it's so crazy. Like it lacks any ounce of self-awareness.
Do you feel good that you're part of the cool club now? Who gives a crap? What?
You started this shit.
What did I do, Eric? What did I do to you, Eric?
You want to know what you did to me? It's laid out on a video, all proven with your text, tweets, all of this shit.
This is what Opie does. That wasn't a funny thing Erock said. He's like, oh, it's laid out in a video. You can go watch it if you like. I've explained it all. And Opie goes, because he's in his mind, he's like, we're all gonna laugh at what a loser Erock is. Like anyone watches his videos. Erock's not saying, oh, my channel's really popular, you should have seen it. He's saying, I've laid it out if you'd like to take a look at it, but I'll explain it now as well. But Opie just distracts from the argument by over laughing. And like, this is what Opie has done for years in these radio wars. And he would get in the way constantly where like they'd be going back and forth with a radio show and tearing these people apart. And Opie would just yell and repeat himself. And it was to a point where you're like, I might agree with this other radio show. Jesus Christ.
Down at Sirius XM being an asshole.
Yeah.
He did shit at Westwood One. And then
Wait. What did I do at Westwood One?
I like that even Opie's like, all right, I'll grant you I was an asshole at Sirius XM.
Sure.
That much we know. That's fine. Yeah. That's all fair play. But what's this Westwood One business?
Yeah, what did I do?
Tim Sabian hired me to produce your...
No, he didn't. You're delusional. I didn't want anything to do with you after I left Sirius XM because you weren't buying into the new show.
I like that. Like Opie's saying he's delusional. Erock's not saying like there was a good chance Tim Sabian would hire. He said Tim Sabian hired me.
Right.
So if you're Opie, you're not like, oh, really? Like I didn't have anything to do with that. If Tim Sabian hired you, he never told me. Opie doesn't have that moment. And this is what I was talking about with like the Kimmel Corolla thing. There was never a moment where he was like, oh yeah, that is weird that they both had the same. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's so dug in that he doesn't question like, oh, did Tim Sabian? He goes, no, he didn't. And it's like, well, Erock's not insane. He's not a mental patient. You've had a relationship with this guy for 20 years. Has he ever just made something up out of thin air? Not to my knowledge. Maybe he has privately that I'm not aware of. But I don't remember Erock going on the Opie and Anthony show and just completely making up a story. There might be something he was wrong about or whatever. But it wasn't just he would come in and go, Tim Sabian hired me. And everyone would go, Erock, Tim Sabian's been dead for 40 years. It didn't happen. So maybe there's something to what Erock is saying, but Opie knows that there is truth to it. So he just tramples over it.
Doing a show
the show I was doing with Carl and Vic, you weren't buying into it. So when I moved to Westwood and I was thinking of getting a producer, your name didn't even come up. You're delusional. It wasn't even a conversation. It wasn't a conversation.
Well, that's kind of crazy. That it wasn't a conversation to have hired anyone from the Opie and Anthony show. That's a little nuts. And that should tell you something about the way you do things, Opie. That it was never a conversation to be like, hey, maybe we should get one of the Opie and Anthony producers, somebody you already have a rapport with and a relationship that knows your style. That wasn't a conversation ever once. I find that hard to believe.
Eric, your name never came up to produce the Westwood One show. I didn't stop you from getting a job over there. I absolutely did not. And I'm not going to watch. And I'm not going to watch your dumb.
Shout out to Ron. Ron is kind of the Craig of Opie's show in the sense that like Craig never knows what's going on here. Mm-hmm. You know, he checks out for weeks at a time and then pops back in and is like, "Wait, what's John doing?"
Like that's never left.
Yeah. That's Ron's role here, where he's like, "Whoa, hold on a second. let Erock talk. He's saying some interesting stuff. And it's interesting to have that perspective where Ron, after doing a bunch of shows with Opie, is finally like, oh, maybe this guy is mentally ill. Interesting.
Yeah. Where you trash me. Go have a good life and leave me alone. I don't even know what you do. Jesus, these guys are crazy.
Hold on. Who is that?
That's the first time I talked to him in many, many years.
Who's Erock? That sounds familiar, by the way. Erock.
Ron's like, whoa, wait a minute. You knew this guy?
He just called you? I had no idea you knew each other.
But like, it's got to be fascinating and eye-opening for Ron to be like, oh, that's not some crazed fan? That's like a guy you have a relationship with that you just screamed over and said this guy's crazy and then hung up on him? Huh. I wonder what that means for my future here.
One of the main producers of Opie and Anthony. He did very, very good stuff for us. I'm not going to lie. I can't lie about it.
Are you surprised he just called you?
No, I guess not.
No?
Last time you spoke to this guy.
No?
Well, I think I'll defend Opie here in the fact that they were beefing right before he called. He's probably like, yeah, knowing him. He's not.
I know, but he said it's the first time we've talked in many, many years, he said. Like, they don't speak anymore. They don't have a relationship. But Opie doesn't have an ounce of humanity where he's like, yeah, that is kind of crazy, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, Erock just had a screaming match.
I think he's kind of just still sitting in it.
I guess, yeah.
I got a video that lays out the whole thing. Why would I go and watch that?
He's watched it 10 times.
He's trying to say that I prevented
Why would you go and watch it? Because you asked Erock why he's upset with you.
And he definitely has seen it.
I'm sure. But you, Opie, said, what's your problem with me? That implies some curiosity about where Erock is coming from. And Erock said, well, I have a video about it if you'd like to watch it. I don't feel like doing the entire thing right now. So I have a video if you'd like to watch it. Why would I? Why would I do that? I don't know, because to answer the question you just asked, that might be why.
So now that you can go on 2 channels at once on YouTube or whatever that is, Opie and Anthony and Erock and Sam and everyone should just do a show, put it on Anthony's and Opie's channel, and just have this all out.
Yes, because that's why an Opie and Anthony reunion will never happen. Because it will never be an organized, like, oh, they show up at Skankfest together. It couldn't be that. It would have to be they yell at each other on YouTube.
Right.
Because now people wouldn't accept the way Opie and Anthony did it before when Opie had his afternoon show on Sirius and they like simulcast on each other's shows and were kind of friendly with each other.
Yeah.
That would not be acceptable now.
No.
There's just too much bad blood and ugliness out there. But like it is. And I think it speaks a lot to Opie. And it's the reason people don't agree with him on anything. When he's like, why are all these people against me? Anthony's manipulating them to be against me.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what is happening. What's happening is we're all watching, and we're watching you, like, Erock is like, well, there's a video. And instead of going, Erock, I don't have time to watch the video. Why don't you just tell me what's wrong? You could have said that, and you could have found out Erock's perspective. But instead you went, I don't have time for you. I'm hanging up.
You're beneath me.
You just avoid the problem. And that's why whatever Anthony's flaws are, or Erock's flaws, or whatever, it's why they are more empathetic characters in this argument, because Opie doesn't give us anything to relate to. He doesn't admit any. He'll go, I have some blame, but he doesn't talk about what it is. Like that Nasty Neil argument I mentioned with Stuttering John. He goes, you know, Neil, you can never admit when you're wrong. And Neil goes, I mean, come on, John. It was a great Nasty Neil moment, which I didn't think I would ever say. But Nasty Neil goes, come on, John. When have you ever admitted you were wrong? And John goes, all the time. I admit I'm wrong plenty. And it's like, you can say that, but you have to follow it up with some things you're wrong about. You can't just go, oh, I'm always wrong. Well, name some examples. None come to mind. You can't just say, I take care of my shit. I've gone to therapy and I know what I've done wrong. No, name some things you did wrong. Actually sit down and think about some things that you handled poorly, Opie. But he will never do that. Whereas Anthony, I have heard, and Anthony might go too far in saying everything was Opie's fault. But Anthony will talk about how like he would be out late drinking and Opie didn't like that. Well, he will acknowledge at least the problems that Opie had with him. And I'm sure Anthony played more of a role than Anthony will admit in there. That's just how relationships are. There's two sides to every story. It's not all one guy all the time. But Opie doesn't even give us like a breadcrumb to be like, oh, that's his perspective. He just doesn't have one.
Right. But when enough people are on one side and there's
well, that's the other thing. Yeah.
But
well, there was also they might get into it in this video, so maybe I'll save it. I'll see if he brings it up.
When I left Sirius XM, I wanted to reinvent myself, and I didn't want all the same fucking idiots around me. So his name didn't even come up to.
Yeah, I didn't want Colin Quinn and Bill Burr and Louis C.K. I wanted Vic Henley and Sherrod Small.
Right.
Great instinct, Ope.
Boy, they're coming out of the woodwork today, Opie.
Oh, well, Erock's part of the cool club now. He was hired by Anthony, who Anthony used to talk mad shit about this guy, but he falls for that, and he
didn't fall for it. It was on air.
You know what's awesome?
What?
Since Anthony's a fan of the program, we're a part of the cool club too.
Ooh, that
Nice.
is exciting.
That's pretty cool.
Yay! We're cool now.
Take that, Opie.
Well, that's the thing, Ope. Like, so we're part of the cool club. Like, listen to what you're saying.
Anthony, and I'm
Wait,
sure
well,
he.
just one more thing. Opie's like, Erock doesn't even know. Anthony used to talk a lot of shit about him. No, we all know. We heard it. Anthony called him on his honeymoon and made whale noises. We're all aware of it. That doesn't mean he thought he was a bad guy. Like, despite Anthony calling him fat and dumb or whatever he would do on the air, Anthony also said, I think this guy has good abilities in production and can be of help to my network. So he hired him. It's not that difficult to figure out.
His eyes were open to Anthony's BS.
Oh, he's an Anthony. He's an Anthony
Well, now
guy.
he is. He drank the Kool-Aid. Yeah, the guy drank the Kool-Aid. He's all in with Anthony. But with that said, during the Opie and Anthony years, Erock was a soldier, and he did a lot of really, really good stuff for the show. And
then just out of nowhere, he turned. Just completely out of nowhere. This guy was always loyal to me, and then for no reason decided he's disloyal to me now. I wonder why. It's certainly not my fault. It's just that this guy snapped.
I'm just pumped we're part of the cool club.
It is exciting. It's hard to even hear the clip when you have such titillation over that.
I've been waiting my whole life for this.
Yeah.
Go to blindmike.net for everything Blind Mike. Look at me. I did it. Krager's did it.